Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rider Ramblings. It wasn't actually supposed to rain until about 5 o'clock today, but we've got, as they say in French, pipi chat. Yep, light drizzle. Never mind. Well, we've got to the end of 2023. We have. And this will probably be the last video of the year. I might make a how-to video between now and New Year. But it will be the last sort of Rider Ramblings, rambling on video. It will, never mind. I went and got a new radiator cap for the bike, this one, because she's overheating and there's a bit of a leak of if they want to have priority à droite, I'm going to make full use of it, just to annoy everybody. Sorry. Anyhow, especially if somebody is being silly, as the white VW was. Right, where was I? Oh yes, I might be doing a how-to video, because I got a new radiator cap for this bike, and I've tried to install it properly, but you've got no idea how difficult it is to get to the radiator cap. You can get to the overflow reservoir. You can get to the overflow reservoir, and oh dear, it's one of those days today, is it? Okay. To top up the overflow reservoir tank, but getting to the actual radiator cap is nigh on impossible. You have to dismantle most of the right-hand side fairing and inner fairing as well, not just the outer fairing, the inner fairing. I managed to loosen it off, and just sufficiently to get to the radiator cap, and I managed to get it off, but I'm not sure that I put the new one on 100%, because it's a lot more difficult to get to. So the old one came off relatively easily, which tells me that the spring inside was a bit loose, worn a bit. Well, it had been there for 13 and a half years, 13 and 3/4 years now, actually. 13 and 3/4 years. In fact, if you go by the build date of this bike, it's just on 14 years. Very close to 14 years. So, yes, but the there are some leaks somewhere, which I haven't found yet, but I was inspecting the hoses that I can inspect, and let's just say they're old. So I will be replacing them in the new year. So that's the next job on this. I've got the antifreeze, mixture, the liquid de refroidissement, as they call it. So I'm all ready. I've got some distilled water in order I can flush the radiator through, because I think it's probably a good idea to flush it. I don't know when it was last flushed. I do know when it was the liquid was changed, the antifreeze was changed, but as I say, I'm not sure when it was last flushed. As such, so I shall flush it out with some distilled, denatured, whatever water, and leave it to cool, probably overnight. Drain that, and then then fill it up with the new stuff. But I will have to replace the hoses first. We've got them today. I don't know why, but we've got them today. 3 cars there jumping the lights. I went through the amber one before. We will stop for this red one, which is probably a good idea. So yes, I need to, I think, strip the plastic off this bike, inspect all the hoses, see which ones are not very good, and I've noticed that at least 2 are not very good. I found a place in the Netherlands. We're not supposed to call it Holland anymore, are we? It's the Netherlands now. That actually has, and they do say it's in stock, the hoses for the bike and the various other bits and pieces that I might need, but I'm not too sure what I'm going to need until I get the plastic off, I think. So we will see. Anyhow, what have you got planned for Christmas? We've got a quiet Christmas planned. They celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve in France. Christmas Day is a day for recovering and going to church. But Christmas Eve is the main festive one for Christmas. But they're much more, like the Scots, they're much more interested in New Year. That's the big do that they have. Christmas Eve is for family, usually. And, oh dear. And, can't see what colour the lights are. Green. It's very useful sometimes, the lights in France. You can't tell the colour. Right, anyhow, yes, Christmas is celebrating Christmas Eve, and the gifts are given on Christmas Eve, and they eat vast quantities of fatty products, and oily products and things like that. I mean, we are talking enormous quantities of fat. It depends actually where you are. If you're over on the east of France, the northeast of France, then they tend to eat turkey over there. But if you're not in the northeast of France, what is Charlie doing? Come on, 77, decide what you're doing. So in Paris and sort of the west of France, they tend to eat a lot of fish. So they start with foie gras, a lot of it. The world will come to an end if there's no foie gras for Christmas. Honest, it will. It will come to an end in France if there's no foie gras. And then large quantities of seafood, salmon, oysters, cockles, that type of thing. All sorts of weird and wonderful fishy things. And then they eat bûche de Noël. Now, bûche de Noël is basically 90% buttercream. Seriously. It's with a little bit of cake in it. You can get a frozen one with ice cream in, but as I say, what most people tend to eat is this thing with buttercream, and I do mean huge quantities of fat. So sorry, I'm just looking at this. The temperature is going up, so it looks like we haven't fixed the problem, or I haven't put the cap on properly. We will see. And it does look like I'm going to have to find the leak. There's obviously a pressure leak somewhere, which I think will be a pinhole or something like that in one of the rather worn out hoses. Yeah, it's still going up. So there is a problem. Never mind. The fan will kick in any minute now. That probably won't bring it down, but it'll stop it going up even any further, I think. Yeah. So anyhow, that's Christmas Eve. Oh, and before they start, they eat saucisson and things like that, which of course is full of fat. Very nice, of course. Copious quantities of champagne is consumed as well. So, and then Christmas Day is usually a quiet day while people recover from the excesses of the night before. But for us, we're actually going round to Valerie's parents because they're in their own apartment, and we shall be eating more bûche de Noël on Christmas Day. We have a sort of a small bûche de Noël. They call it a bûchette de Noël on Christmas Eve. And we'll have the full bûche de Noël. Sorry, I'm checking the temperature of the water. It's gone down a bit with the fan, but I don't think it's going to go down enough. We will see. What on earth is going on here? On that. Anyhow, New Year is usually, as I say, for friends, and that's a bit of a wild time. But we tend to have a quiet New Year. So that's us for this year. So I'll say a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So there might be a how-to video coming out next week. It just depends on how much time I have available and things like that to do things. So please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Continue driving a bit quicker.